So I think those two EV names are going to be in play. The 11, maybe not it's not that clean of a level. You've seen it kind of get through 5-10 cents above. So a false breakout is what you need for a pullback. So those both are going to be on play. Novo, as mentioned, I didn't say what the news was. They had a buyback for that NVOS stock. So it's not a huge floater. It's going to do a ton of volume today. It just came back down through $1. I just want to look for a possible trend in this, but I'm going to let it open up and maybe set some levels. I don't want to say something as simple as, let's just buy VWAP because it was working before. I've never seen this stock in the open market, and it doesn't usually do this kind of volume. So let's let it calm down. I have no idea if it's going to be a halt candidate or anything like that, but penny stocks have to move a little bit more to halt, but that's only when they're under 75 cents. And this was under 75 cents yesterday.
So silly discipline to me. We should be 70 cents in the money now on Apple. We were sitting here at 191. We wrote down 191, but then the market came in there and I was like, do we really like 191? So I'll sit there now small just to take it. And then if we can get 50 cents on a couple shares, we'll do that just because. And then that way, if it continues to run down, we don't have to worry too much about it because we won't have too many shares and we can regroup the thought at that time. But for now, the market looks like it wants to come in. And we talked about it getting to 18.7. It got to 18.670. So pretty close to that level. I still think that is something to look at with only 10 seconds left. Yeah, Apple on watch, GameStop, AMD up at the top there, Baba. So lots of stuff happening with only 2 on watch. All right, thank you, Adara. We'll watch out for NVIDIA tanking a little bit right now. Apple getting back up to the upside, so there's no surprise there. I do like the 193 break long if we get going there on Apple, potentially. But we can even take the day's high break there at 192.11. That's not a horrible trade either. Maybe we should look at that. 192.25 for a break on Apple. I'm going to switch that over right now from 193 to 192.25, yesterday's high.
Yeah, just seeing, Summit opened up here. No big move, no halt, nothing like that. It looks like it's right at the 9. I was looking for a bit of a dip buy. Oh, GameStop is already starting to go. Oh, there's GameStop. It looks like it's going to make a run at that $23 level pretty quickly. DJT actually dipping to the downside. NVIDIA's already heading down, so there was no pop. There was no pop to be shorted on that name. Pinduoduo immediately heading down, no pop to be shorted there. And Gap, the other one watching off of the open, it's pulling back. I said the first look for me would be $26.50. It ain't there just yet. Oh wow, DJT's really starting to fall. It's not 10%. It's probably not going to halt because it's only down a couple of dollars, but a big dip in the VWAP for that.
All right, so we have our first position here. It's a short on AMD. It's just to start it. If we break 167, we're out. I just wanted to play off that top, which is just 167. I don't even want to hold it to 167.50. I'm not sure I love this trade, but I just saw NVIDIA make that move down. So there goes NVIDIA. Kind of as we had mentioned, 1130. We talked about this level in the pre-market and how I liked it from yesterday. It looks like it is going to be that level. So there it goes to the downside right there. But you know what, man? Now we're 40, 50 cents in the money here. There it is. Yes, sir. Hey. I see you. A little bit of a trade right there. All right, there goes Apple. So now we're into Apple. So forget about cheering the short on anymore. Now we need this long to go the other way. So now we are into Apple, 192.30. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and here also Gap's bouncing off $26.
Jeez.
And I get to GameStop in a second. I had the 23 break. It just came back underneath, but Gap is now down at 26. This is the spot that we're looking for the dip buy right in this range. So if it can bounce here, get maybe through the quarters, which it just did, and I did not get filled there. I'm not going to move my bid. I'm going to make sure we get the stop underneath that $26 area. Didn't want to move the bid in there to try to get picked up. Bit of a spread forming. DJT still in a pullback. NVIDIA, I wish we had it, but I was looking for something a little bit tight. It was right in the middle of the range I liked, and it just tanked, continuing to flush in here. So we'll have to look for some kind of a pop to be able to short. I like Micron as well. That was going to be the other one, and it's actually coming to the upside just a little bit. But a bit of a miss out there on NVIDIA. That was the one I preferred for the short side, and it's already down $15.
Yeah, that's why we went right over to AMD because we'd seen the sort of how aggressive that NVIDIA was exactly. But yeah, good look there. I still do like that one. All right, so we did get out of not enough. We got out of about 20% or so of Apple up here as it ripped up because I was like, what? That started to go immediately there. So we kind of got into this a little bit early. We understand that. We don't want to necessarily just be punching into things at 9:30, especially when we have PCE on a day like PCE where the market could easily give it back. So that's what we're doing right now. We are giving this back to 191.60. I was sort of going to wait out for 191. This was the level that we had talked about. We just got excited on it early. So I do want to wait. We had written down 191 and took out some profit. So now I think it's about time to hold it. We do have AMD short in the money, 50 cents. So one name out of the money, one name in the money, and we just got to sort of hold it. So 50 cents long out, 50 cents short in. But I really like the AMD trade. We just got to keep our eye, of course, on NVIDIA. But there it goes again, back through 166. So I've canceled my short up here for now, just to let it watch. And I'm going to focus more here on Apple, as this has been the one for me here today. And then Amazon trying to go downside, and we wanted to talk about that as well. But for right now, it's Apple for me. We got to watch out for that one.
So I'm back into GameStop, but very quickly here. Dell already broke 140. There was no bounce. I saw the bid. It was basically non-existent. It is short sell restricted, being down 10%, but there was no hold of the even dollar. And DJT just went through $50, through 49. It's about to tag 48. Still no halts. I feel like it went 10%. I guess it didn't go fast enough, but it's only 935. So no halt yet on the stock, but it is absolutely tanking right now on DJT. Down, it was up 6%. It's down 6% now. GameStop, I got back in. Look, I got wicked out. I set the pre-market high as my out, and then it retook 23, so I jumped back into it. Gonna scalp into 23.50. I feel like it might be a meme day. When the big cap tech names go to the downside, sometimes you gotta find squeeze names to go to the upside. But I'm gonna be very patient with Dell. I made a keystroke error when trying to make an SSR bounce play in CRM yesterday, so I want to be very, very selective and patient with Dell. 35 would be the next level to the downside. Still no halt for DJT. That's a big drop. I don't understand why. I thought it should have halted there, but I guess not.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
Wasn't that 10% down? Okay, so we'll wait for DJT and figure that all out right now. All right, so remember we said that we were going to sort of hold out on AMD, so now it's starting to go back up to the upside. Remember, 167 and change is our out there for advanced micro devices. I did want to look at Alibaba, and I do want to look at Palantir, and unfortunately Alibaba's, well, not unfortunately, but here it's coming back up to the upside. I'm going to wait for that 79. We may get that, so that could be cool. If that comes in, we definitely want to look at that. And then our Palantir trade, I mean, had to move up there already. Now it's coming back in, so I still like this 2160. I believe, if I am correct, that is where I am bidding. Okay, so AMD just went through 167, so that was just literally a flat trade there, 50 cents both ways. We sort of knew that was going to be the case for the risk to reward early on that one, so we do not have AMD anymore. We just have Apple and possibly Palantir if we can get into 2160. What's up at Arab?
Oh,
Sorry about that, guys. We do have Amazon here on watch trading to the downside. There is this U.S. agency looking to get more details on potential crashes for Zoox, which are, this is owned by Amazon, and this is self-driving vehicles. So some self-driving vehicle issues and potential probe here for AMZN, guys. Sorry about that.
Tesla just went green on the day after tanking $2.50 at the open. Looks like we might get a breakout past that 180 level one more time. So yesterday, the plan of action, the second time through was better. We actually caught it. It false broke the first time. The second time through, it held the 180. So I want to go with that approach. I'm not shorting it at this level. That's way too much of a recovery to want to just blindly short the top, and it was super strong in yesterday's trade. GameStop's continuing to go. I have my eyes on DJT because if there is a turn or a halt, I want to be involved. But I'm telling you, it's not seeming like it has any interest in halting despite the lack of liquidity. It's now down at 47.5. I don't have any levels on DJT. I'll let you guys know if it goes into a halt. GME, I'm looking for a dip into 23. If we get to 24, I want to take this one out. And NVIDIA, okay, here comes the pop in NVIDIA. So it's starting to come back up. That 1125 is where everything started yesterday. That's where it failed at the open. If it fails a break of 1125, I want to short it on the way back through. And then if I can get Micron nowhere near 130, but the 128 level, that's where things started falling apart in the afternoon there as well. Those are the two that I like for the south side. Someone's spoofing GME right now. Yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
Yeah, I don't think I put too many shares in around.
Someone has 19,000 share orders on the bid 4782 on that.
All right, so we do have coming up here, let's not forget about what we're doing. We still have Apple shares, obviously. It's the only trade that we have on right now. We do have coming up right now, I mean, it's going to be at 9:45 here, Chicago PMI. So expected 41, prior 37. So that's going to be a number as well. So get ready for that one coming through. And that's why, I mean, that's not why, but I took something out here as we came back into 192 here for Apple. We were able to buy some there at the 50 period at 70. So, you know, now we're kind of just chilling out right now. Oh, AMD's up to 168 right now. So I don't know if I want to be long Apple into this number and short AMD, but, you know, AMD just hit that 168 level that I liked. I'm going to hold off on it, but definitely keep it in mind. Apple just went up again. We got it 192.10. That was a good fill. There's Apple. It just blasted to 15s there. So we take that fill. Let's see if we get one more little push higher. This is where we're long, 192.20. We sort of punched along here at right there at 25 and then averaged a little bit in. So it's not like our price got that much better. I didn't want to put that much on. Right there, did Bobby get to 29 yet? Or sorry, 79, 29. Nope. And then Palantir, just one more look. I have them, actually I got to put Palantir up. I have Amazon on my mind for some reason as a short. I'm not engaged in a short yet. I still want to see what Apple can do here. So yeah, those are my trades so far. So it needs to get going. Come on, Apple. I would really like it to get above that 192.50 so that we can get that move into 93, right? So it needs to, like there, this level right here is 25. That's where we broke it long. We tried to get it. We did get it up to 50. We did take some out up there, but it needs to get going higher and higher and higher. And here goes Apple right now. Yes, sir. Let's see if we can get this one going. As we said, we're staying in these names, man. We're believing in these names. We held this one a little bit against us. Let's get back higher there for Apple.
NVIDIA's starting to run. So I got in and out flat of games. So actually, it's not true. I got in, accidentally got out for like 20 cents there, everything. So I just jumped right back in the higher price that we got out. I'm giving this to 22.69. We're going to go to Adara, but NVIDIA's at 11.26. So this is the level. If it fails this breakout, I want to look for it back underneath. Let's go to Adara.
Next move up here for VF Corporations. VFC up about 10% right now, announcing that Sun Cho, who just recently, earlier this month, resigned from Lululemon as its chief product officer. Sun Cho now set to be the global brand president of Vans. So nice look here for VFC to the upside, guys.
Get those Vans. All right, so right now, I'm still waiting. We've taken some out here on Apple. I mean, obviously, this is going to be a positive name for me right here. We are completely flat on AMD as AMD dances around this level that we had talked about now of 68. So I think we'll go a little short here if we can on AMD. We'll have to punch it. We'd say I just offered it and missed it,
I just missed NVIDIA.
Yeah, so we'll try it. Wow, now it's getting away from me a little bit here, but that's okay. We're now short into AMD, long into Apple. Apple's getting going a little bit here right now. We're long 192. We wrote down 191. We like that trade, but here it goes. Let's get higher, man. We're in 60, 65s. We need this to go. Let's go, Apple, to the upside right now. If we can get that going, we'll get pretty excited for that one. Come on, AMD. Come on down. You're the next contestant on Who Wants to Go Lower. It's you, AMD. So let's see where we go. We just take a little bit of profit on that one, but let's get going here on Apple upside, AMD downside. All right. Both these levels are starting to hit now, so let's get going here. Hopefully AMD gets a drop in right now, and a thank you very much for 168.60 high. That's probably where we're gonna get out. So let's see what happens now as the numbers are coming out. You see, this is why you gotta get out of some Apple when it starts to go like that. Now we'll play the pullback. AMD is a monster, so 168.60 is our out. Daily high right there as the futures approach the 50 period moving average.
Yeah, the second I was missing this trade on NVIDIA, I went right over. I didn't do this in the afternoon yesterday when I was missing NVIDIA at 25 and had to chase the 20s, which was just get underneath on 168 on AMD. I was trying to grab 24s here on NVIDIA. As you can see, like it wicked the top, it failed to break out, and then plunged $5 very, very quickly. So if it goes, it goes. We'll see what happens. I am in GameStop. That's the only other thing. Whoever was doing that nonsense on DJT, it kind of worked. I mean, they were spoofing the bid, and it actually pushed it up to almost $49. So it is bouncing a little bit here, but there was no halt to the downside. I'm still a little bit confused why not, but it is catching a bid. I want to take breaks on that, maybe like $50. AMD is starting to go up, and NVIDIA is retesting 1125. I'm offering on the way to the high on GameStop, so I want to be taking profit there. We're only in 2 names at this particular point, and I just wanted to get to this NVOS. So I never got the dip. Remember I was joking about, I don't want to just buy the dip into VWAP, I want to see it open up. Well, you could have just bought the dip into VWAP. It's halted up at 108. It bounced exactly off of VWAP at 88 cents. Twice. And now halted up. TAP is currently flat on NVOS, low flow runner.
All right, so we're going to go long on Tesla here if it breaks this high of 180.60 or so on Tesla. That's the high we want to try to grab here if it does break it, and then we'll take a bunch of shares. And then if it fails, we're going to have to, we'll be concerned if it fails. I'm actually going to lower my share size because I don't really have a great out if this does make that move. I'm just gonna take off about 25% of what I was going to hit it with. And the reason is like, I don't want to have to hold this all the way back to 179.25. So I don't want to have that many shares. So we're already sort of thinking about that. But I love the long, and I'm going to hold it. But that's the thing. Like $1 down is a lot, so you're going to have to figure that all out. But we do have numbers in 10 seconds. We said 45. Let's go.
We're just waiting here for that Chicago PMI print. Previous 37.9, consensus 41, forecast 39 here for that Chicago PMI. Let's see if we got this out. Still waiting here on this number for the Chicago PMI for the month of May. Coming in 35.4, so that's going to be lower here than the forecast of 41.5 and the previous of 37.9. Bit of a move down here on the SPY on that lower than expected Chicago PMI. 35.4 versus the forecast of 41.5, guys.
All right, so, we're in the money 30 cents on AMD, but Apple fell back in, so I'm a little bit like, okay, do we really want to mess with this number? It is pretty low there, coming through on the Chicago PMI. So, I don't actually see it on, what was it? I heard the number, but 35.4, so not a good one there against expected, but again, is bad good for the market or good bad for the market? So we'll figure that all out, but right now we're long at 192, and it doesn't look overly healthy right now. I'm going to put it there. We got some out at 90, so that's okay now, and then I'm going to cancel my 12s. I did have a 192.12 order coming through there, so let's watch out. I'm going to assume that Tesla's pulled back a little bit now, so okay, we'll wait for that to ramp up itself a little bit and try to break that high again. But for right now, we go from a great position in Apple to right here coming back against us as the futures touch VWAP there. So a little bit of a pullback on that number.
Yeah, a little bit. So I got NVIDIA on the way back through. It did a double top. It's 127.27. I'm not making that number up. It's actually 11.27.27 just double topped 127. 11.27.27 just double topped in NVIDIA. I have 23s back in. If it breaks 20, we're going to start to get out. So both these names, AMD and NVIDIA, making somewhat top wicks in here. We'll see if that's the case. GameStop, by the way, came out. So it pulled back in. We grabbed it a second time. It's starting to tank down through. So it's now underneath yesterday's break or yesterday's triple top. So once that happens, we're giving up the long on that particular name. So we got 2 chip names to the short side. NVIDIA, I want to see it cracking through 1120, at least into VWAP, and then look for the low down there. DJT still very much on my radar if it can break out $50 as well. So there's your bottom. It's trying to put in a higher low. If this takes out 50, I feel like it wiped out a bunch of people at the open, and if it can go after doing that, there's probably a little bit less resistance on DJT. I'm gonna call it something else.
Yeah, DJT. All right, 178. So I'm gonna get out here. We just went long on Tesla. So right there, it does fall back in. Let's watch to see Tesla's doing. We had a great trade there on AMD and we covered some. So we'll just go back over here and see what we could do now on TSLA. I mean, we got that big move down. We saw relative strength in Tesla, obviously early, but then getting hit on this number. So let's take advantage of that. We'll buy some 29s there. We're long at 178.30. We just take some out at 50. We talked about where our drop zone would have been there through 178. So if we can get 50 cents on it on the way back in, we'll do that. And then we'll wait for a little bit higher. We're waiting in the 80s, and then I don't know. I mean, it looks like the market's going to come back in for us. So it looks like that was a good out, at least somewhere there on on Tesla. But we're still dancing around. We just got more short here on AMD.
I just got taken out of AMD. Oh no, boo! I'm just about to fail on my AMD there. I'm into that NOVS off of the whole price. So it halted at 108. If it breaks like sixes, then I'm out of it. But I'm playing it basically a dip into the whole price, that's all. So if it breaks it, which it just did, want to risk 4 or 5 cents, I might take a couple shots at this. I think this can be like a multiple halter. But if I'm not playing it at $1, I'm playing it off of the whole price only. Still nothing on DJT. And as I said, I got taken out of AMD. I had 2/3 out of AMD. And then, right into VWAP.
Go.
Exactly at VWAP, and then I got up. But I'm still in the NVIDIA trade, so I have one of the two still going.
Okay, yeah, we're still in AMD. So we're short right now. AMD, a nice little trade happening for us right now. I mean, obviously, we'd like to see this get a lot lower than where it is. But if it does, then I'm kind of trapped everywhere else, right? Because we have Tesla long that just worked again back to 50, but we're about to get taken out of that. Like, I don't know if this is going to hold 170. There it goes. I was going to say we might not hold it, and it didn't. So that could have just been a little bit of a false break there. But I'm okay not taking this down here. But I feel like we're going to look back, and this is going to be a little bit of a mistake. All right, let me just take a little bit. I want to get back in, so we're back into this. I'm going to now give it, just because it broke there, but not really. I feel like I don't want to give this too much, 177.50 now. Okay, so getting back in may have been that mistake, and this is when we realize that sometimes we get a little bit too confident in the plays that we thought we liked. So, but we're still in it right now. And look, having confidence in your plays again, including this AMD trade, is working out. So right now we are short. There it is. Let's go. Spin the money on AMD, that's for sure, as that is a big winner right now. 70 cents in the money on AMD. Let's go Tesla. Come on, we can make this back on you, but I don't know. Tesla and AMD right now, tale of two stories here, as there goes AMD. Beautiful short down to the downside there, but Tesla long fading out again. I got excited for Tesla. Let's see if it still works. But it's AMD is the kicker for me now. AMD approaching a dollar club right there right now for the short of AMD. The trade idea number one there today will be my P&L one, and that's how it's supposed to be. But if Apple gets going, then hey, we should have a good one coming through here on Apple right now. Tesla trying to go, okay, now we're getting excited again, Sharif. Here we go. Let's see if we can get some moves now back up to the upside here. If Tesla can go, bang, we get that fill on Tesla. Now we're getting slapped action up here. Tesla's now going 70 cents in the money. We did reload that trade, but it's going to have to get going a little bit more for us. We're now up on Tesla on the day. AMD's $1 in the money, and Apple's trying to get going here. If Apple goes ooh-wee, we could have a decent day here to start, and it's 9:51. I don't know how things are going over there for you, Neil, but we are rocking.
So I just threw a trail on NVIDIA. I didn't want to interrupt that, but obviously when the chips are going to the downside, so it's starting to work, but you're catching a higher low on it. I can't ignore this. It's usually a long setup when it does a wick bottom like that and tries to put in a higher low. It did not get the best price on the way in. Oh, I'm back in NVOS as well, I should say that. So if we get through 18s, I'm going to jump out of that trade, look for a re-entry. I got out of AMD on this wick. Because I had a short in here, I actually set my stop for this top and not the actual top. So, it is what it is. That's the decision I made. It was the wrong one. I should have just played with the double top instead of that high. It's now back into VWAP. If NVIDIA goes, AMD's probably going to go. And then NVOS. So my target's probably going to take $10 here into 11.11 on NVIDIA. That's like 12, doesn't really matter. But NVOS, I did jump back in, tried to get this one breaking back out above that halt price. I'm only working off the halt price of 108. So every time it breaks it, I'm just going to get out. If it holds the halt price and bounces, I'll try to add on the way back up. But I'm only adding up. I'm not averaging down on this stock. I'm only going to add to it if it can make a big bounce to the upside. And then DJT, Still no break at the $50 level. I don't mind that. If it consolidates and then breaks 50, that's probably better than it just running it outright.
Like, I don't even really want to get anything out of Tesla here, to be honest with you. But there it is, man. There's the dollar club on AMD. I mean, solid trade right there. Just wish we had more, obviously. All right, so that's always the case, right? There's Tesla right here. It looks like it wants to get lower here. We put our stop at, is that the right stop? 177.50? Yeah. So I thought I had a bid down here as well. Yeah, I don't know. Let me try. I was buying 177.70, which doesn't make sense if my stop is 50. We should just be buying. Let's just buy more right now, right here at 178. Like, if my stop can't be that tight to a reload level, that doesn't make any sense. All right, so I mean, wow. Okay, AMD. Okay, I see you. Let's see how low we can go on AMD now. All right, Tesla. That level's 178.50. I am going to put out another share there, another piece to get out at 178.50, another 10% if we can do that, because here we go. We're getting the reload right there at 178. Remember where our stop is, 50 cents lower than this, so I have to start thinking about getting some out if we pop up again. The market is getting pretty much destroyed here early, honestly. Like, there's been one little bump up there, and then that number hit, and now we're downside. Remember, we got an upside move from PCE here, so I feel like underneath the market there's some help, but right now it looks pretty weak, and there goes, remember we just said about Tesla, watch out. It's good, there it goes, so it breaks lower on that one. So we'll slap a fail at the end of the day on the Tesla long. We tried it at 178, and honestly, I'm feeling pretty, comfortable with taking the same amount of risk to reward back and forth. So we'll hold out for this. We may eventually get long on a break back above 178, but I'm going to have to let it go through at least to this 178.20 is right here is the 50 period moving average. It needs to get back above there. So right now this appears to be a little broken. That's Tesla after what an amazing move it had. And I was getting excited to break the high. So I'll play that dip all the time, but here comes AMD right back up, actually.
Yeah, I just rang the register on NVIDIA. It put in that wick higher low, which I was kind of fearful of. It's NVIDIA.
I still like
and I said this, literally the lesson of the day yesterday was sometimes ignore that first initial move and respect what the trend is after the open, which would be if it puts in two wick bottoms, that could be like higher lows into a potential break. So I'm going to respect that. I said you look at the trend as it's actually forming for you. I still have a level that can be resistance. It needs to get back up there. Mullen's making some moves here, but I don't know if there's anything actually going on with the stock. It's very light volume. Let's just preface that. It's less than 1 million shares, but it's up 13%. So for what it's worth, Mullen is going. Still nothing on DJT. You can come into the day and think that you're going to be trading a stock, but if it doesn't want to go, it doesn't want to go. It flushed to the downside. I'm looking for it to break out this top, and then we could be excited about that particular name. I do still like Micron for a short, and that is still setting up pretty decently for me underneath VWAP here. So I might settle into this one. I like the volume on this and where it's doing the volume, right underneath the obvious resistance of 127. So I feel a bit better about that one, because if NVIDIA goes, NVIDIA is going to rip faces off. Micron not necessarily going to do that as much. PDD has yet to break 150, but the play has been let it make its spike and then short it. So it's only now breaking 150 or attempting to break 150. If that happens, I'm going to look for that turn play. Might have got a good out in NVIDIA, but time's only going to tell. Let's go over to it, Aaron.
We do actually have a bit of a catalyst on Mullen here. So they do have a short float of about 18.2% worth noting, but also this morning they announced they did hire this former European Mannheim and Copart executive to lead their Europe sales effort. This comes a few days after announcing that they've secured a major European order for some delivery EVs. So interesting look here for MULN and this ongoing Europe story, guys.
All right, we like sometimes we get a little obsessed with names here, but we're back into Tesla, man. We're back long at 177.75. So now it's starting to get going again. I said that we would probably get back in this, and I just wanted to believe in the name, and now we're positive on it. That's unbelievable. Okay. Well, now we're doing well on Tesla as that battles itself all the way back up. Okay, hands off. Take the wheel, Elon, literally. Or don't, actually, full self-drive, don't take the wheel. But there we go, nice move to the upside here. Whew, all right, that took something to do that one for sure. I was not certain about it. As there goes Tesla. Neil, it is another dollar club right there as we talked about that. Yes, sir. All right. Whew. All right, that was fun. I hope you all enjoyed that because there it goes, man. There it goes. There it goes. CompuCare, you got smoked on Dell. You should have listened to Sean Katina. All right. Let me see what's up with that. Just leave this alone and play the short. So I guess you must have gone long there. But there it was right there. We wanted to play the back to VWAP. So the only trade that I would have had today would have been this short right there, 141. If you're looking at it, because it did play back to VWAP. So CompuCare, I don't know what play you had, but I definitely, again, when a company reports, especially negatively, I said this trade what it is, and the other one that was upside today was Gap, and so we can look at that again. But all right, I'll look at this in a minute. But yeah, that would have been the trade right back there, and it's actually happening again. You could fade this 140 again off VWAP if you wanted that trade, but then you got to get out when it breaks higher, right? Like that's 140.50, 141. I'd give this 140 short about $1 and change if you can. But OMG right now, we say, because there goes Tesla, and there she goes finally. I mean, it took a while. It took a minute for us to do that. We did get stopped out. We talked about that, but I mean, we got back in and we said that we thought we liked this name, and there goes Tesla booming back up to the upside. We nailed it there. We're gonna have to take another piece out just because of the move that it's having. It just bounced off of one. There we go. Just bounced off of this level, so we'll take another piece at 130, 179.30. Right now, $1.80 in the money is Tesla.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. Like, stay specific. I'm not really jumping into any new names at this point because I don't think it makes any sense to do so. I got eyeballs still on DJT if it breaks 50. I did get out of NVIDIA when it put in that higher low and trailed out of that range. It's broken VWAP a couple times, like back, up, and down underneath. If we get into something new, I just don't want to be fighting any stocks. You know, like that's... I feel like when you're fighting stocks at this time of the day, like it's 10 o'clock, you want to be reassessing ideas after you get that opening range, which we have. So I'm pretty clear about Micron. It just turned red. If we get a pop, I short it. When I look over at AMD, you know, like, okay, so Micron's underneath VWAP. AMD probably gives you that level. It's a mixed bag for me. Like, I'm up on AMD because we were able to get most of it out off of VWAP. But at the end of the day, I could still be in this trade. So I do want to respect the fact that we are headed back into the downside and see if we can't work into it. But I think it's a little bit stronger than some of the other names in the chip space with an upward trend. So you got to get the best price if you can. Let's go over to Adara at the desk.
S&P 500 right now to the downside along with the NASDAQ. Quite the morning we've had so far today. Lots of earnings reactions we'll talk about in a second here. And we also did have that PCE data, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, coming in pretty much in line with expectations for the most part, though slightly higher than expected on a year-over-year basis. So lots to look at as for sure in this market on a holiday shortened week heading into the end of the week here, guys. We do have Dell to take a look at. This one down about 18%. They did beat on earnings, but they projected a decline in gross margin, so DELL to the downside. Gap at earnings play initially really strong here, still up about 20%, but falling off a little bit. They beat across the board, so great look for GPS. And last but not least, we do have DJT, Trump Media and Technology Group. This one getting a lot of attention after Donald Trump was found guilty of all counts yesterday on falsifying business records. So interesting look for DJT and a lot of these names on watch, guys.
And one of those that you said there, Adara, we took one shot at Dell, tight stop, because that's usually how I'm going to do it, like preserve capital, all that kind of good stuff. When it's going to the downside, I don't want to be like guessing at the bottom. If I like a level, we try the level. I like 26, it broke 26. It then made the bottom at 25. A little different story here. Huge ramp back up and now consolidating higher. So now you have something to work off of. 26.85 is this local bottom. I think looking for a breakout from here seems pretty decent. So we're going to get over to Gap here. We're starting to head back. So NVIDIA's heading back down. And remember I said AMD was kind of trending back to the upside. So higher lows and all that good stuff. It breaks VWAP and joins, great. Otherwise, wait for the actual top, which is like 168.50. 50. And then Micron was the other one we want to the south side. That just continues to fall. We might not get a VWAP retracement on Micron as it just continues to hunt lower and lower and lower. So it looks like it's going to be pretty nasty there for some of these chip names, especially if AMD gives up VWAP. It's the only one trading above VWAP right now.
Yeah, Tesla.
Marvell's now down 10% on after their earnings. Like, the chips are getting smoked.
It's funny that we talked about Costco hot dogs, and then we just put $2 in the pocket right there on Tesla. So we found Tesla, and again, thanks to everybody in the chat there, and just mentioning that, wow, Tesla's really starting to go. Oh my! I better make sure that I do not have that top break here for Tesla, because I do not want that. So right now we are cruising here, man, with Tesla. We just had a little bit of a dip down in Apple there, and I actually went to reload my coffee, so we are reloaded right now, and I saw Dimitri. What's up, Dimitri? Everybody that knows Dimitri from the development, trading floor development team, shout out to that guy. Great guy. Saw Brankles back there. But okay, 191 coming back in here for Apple. We still want to look at that level. Wow, man, AMD still 70. I mean, look at these trades we have on board here today. Tesla's been a monster. AMD has been the best for me, actually. I'm up more on AMD than I am on Tesla right now. The one that's bothering me, of course, is the only losing trade that we've had, and we'll go 2 for 3 today, and that's going to be Apple. But again, this name just hasn't gone. We ignored that 200 period because I wasn't here. I'm at 191.11 to the downside, but this is going to be a difficult trade. Like, if it breaks this 190, 191 maybe even, possible issue there. The thing is we had already written down on here, by the way, there goes Tesla again. We'd already written down on here 191, so we're gonna try to support that. We like that Palantir at 2160. This might be the dog for me. I'm gonna cancel Palantir. I'm gonna wait for 50s. So if we do get a move down, we'll watch it. It's not really moving the way I thought it would have. So for me right now, it's all about Tesla and AMD. We only have right now 10% left of it. So
NVIDIA's catching a bid.
Yeah, like when this was down here, this is the trade for me. We talked about it, right? I mean, this is why these lines are here. So back in out VWAP, out VWAP, out VWAP. Should have got out there at 167, didn't. So sometimes you got to hold something for something. And then right here, let's go Apple. Good little reload back to VWAP. Hey, like I just said, let's be responsible. Let's take out some 90s now, right? So there it is again. We'll face slap that one back upside. And here we go. All right, we're getting ready for a big day here, hopefully. We just need the market to rally, cancel offers, and start to rip up. So let's go.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. I love the fact that it's right back at this low and actually giving you some bids. I'm only one stock bidding right now. It's just GPS. So GPS in the midst of a potential break back out. It was up almost 25%, now 21, but it's the higher low potential break that I'm looking for. The other name, I said all the chips are weak. I was wrong about that. ARM is very strong. ARM's up 1%. It's kind of bull flagging. Underneath 120.80 and VWAP is kind of where I was thinking the short would be. I had this range set off. So unless this breaks underneath 121, I think this should be a long today on ARM, but I want to see the market bounce. Like I said, I was getting into gap. That's the only thing that we're bidding at the current moment. NVIDIA does make a bounce off the lows, now putting in a lower high. I thought this would get me into Micron. It has not. Micron's still heading for the lows. Sometimes when you're shorting the pop, the short is at the available level. It closed at 126.30. It just bounced into 126 and rejected. So the previous close looks like a resistance level, at least for now. I'm going to adjust to that and work off of this. It's a relatively weak name. We said you have to separate these sometimes. Some strength in some chip names and a lot of weakness in others. Clearly weakness in Micron.
Okay, it's only 10:06 right now. Oh man.
All right, DJT's about to break.
Yeah. This has been a good day to hold stuff. I mean, these are the days when confidence helps. And some days, it goes against you a little bit. The funny point about it